Come with me to mix up 2 vials of Sculptra for my next patient. Now bear with me, I'm kind of rushing through this video only because my patient is patiently waiting for her treatment, but I always get this question, so I wanted to make sure to record a quick video of how I mix my Sculptra. So I typically do 2 vials of Sculptra per session. I'm just decapping my vials, and I use 8 cc's of sterile water to 1 cc of plain lidocaine per vial. So this is how I mix it. I'm going to use Prevantix or chlorhexidine to clean off the top of my sterile water, and I specifically use this sterile water vial and this vial of lidocaine specifically for my Sculptra, so I'll mark that out so I know these are my Sculptra vials. So I pull up 5 cc's of sterile water, insert it into the vial, and then what's important here is that I draw up 5 cc's of air, or that vial is going to spit out at you. You want to make sure not to get the carboxymethylcellulose foam, that white foam in the vial when you draw it up. So inserting another 5 cc's into the vial, and then again pull up the air while avoiding that foam. That foam, when you draw up the final product, is what can clog the cannula, so you really want to make sure to avoid that. Sorry, my lidocaine just spit everywhere. I use 1 cc of plain lidocaine per vial of Sculptra. And you could see every time I insert a little bit of fluid, then I draw back and draw up some air so that it doesn't spit at me. And I promise you, you will have a moment like that. Then I'm going to spend time, mix it up for 1 minute. So I drew up 5 cc's sterile water, 1 cc of plain Lido. I mix it for 1 minute. You could also use a vibrating device, but I prefer my hand because I feel like it mixes it up better. So drawing up now 3 cc's to make my total 8 cc's of sterile water per vial. Push that fluid in, draw back the air, avoiding that foam. Again, draw up 3 cc's, and then I'm going to insert it into the vial, draw up 3 cc's of air, and now I have my 8 cc sterile water, 1 cc plain Lido, drawing up the air, and now I'm going to mix it for 1 minute. And once I'm done mixing, you really want to see this like beautiful cloudy consistency, and I like to sit them on 2 little alcohol swabs to the left, upside down, so that that carboxymethylcellulose foam rises to the top, so when you draw it up, you can avoid that. I use 3 cc syringes to draw it up because I like to map out the face in terms of 2 to 3 cc's of Sculptra per area. So for example, if I want 3 cc's in a temple, then I'll draw up a 3 cc syringe for that temple, and then another 3 cc for the other temple. So when I'm drawing up the Sculptra, you see that little window in the vial? I always utilize that little window in the stopper. You could see that little window right there in the red stopper. And I keep the needle in, and then usually, I'm silly here, I'm making my job harder. Usually I have all of these syringes already opened, but I just add the empty syringe, 3 cc's, drawing up. So I typically will get a 3 cc, a 3 cc, and then a 2 cc out of 1 vial of Sculptra. But what's important here is this last one. So watch when I draw it up. I'm really careful. I go back to that window, and I'm making sure that I'm not getting that foam, that white foam on the top, because that's what's really going to clog your cannula. So I'm drawing up as much as possible, pulling that needle out ever so slightly to make sure that I got everything that I can of the Sculptra particles while avoiding that carboxymethylcellulose gel or foam, I'm sorry. So now drawing up from the other vial, you see that cloudy consistency of goodness, of PLLA love. And then so drawing up 3 cc's, I'm going to draw up another 3 cc's. Really should have opened these in advance, but drawing up 3 cc's yet again. And then I have to grab one more 3 cc syringe to get about 2 more cc's in that last one. Oops. So attach that syringe to the needle. I'm using a 18 gauge, forgive me. I'm using an 18 gauge to draw up. So I get about 2 cc's left of that PLLA deliciousness. But you can see all of my syringes sit on that alcohol swab. I try to keep this area as clean as possible, despite the fact that my lidocaine spit everywhere. My go-to cannula for Sculptra is my 25 by 2-inch cannula and a 23 gauge starter. For my pilot hole, I always start with a little bolus of lidocaine with epi and bicarb prior to treating. But now I have my 6 syringes of PLLA goodness that's ready to inject my next patient.